I was waiting to get in. Yeah, I'm in.
Okay, are we ready to go then?
I think I am.
Kristen's nodding her head, we must be. So we're at the approval of the agenda, is that correct? So Vivian moves that, Sal seconds it. Call to question, all in favor, opposed, motion carried. Special staff report. Do we need to read that or no? I keep asking that question. No, okay, we'll move on.
We just need to move it as shown on the agenda.
I'll do that.
Okay, and Sal will second it. I'll call the question. All in favor, opposed, motion carried. Thank you. And then the Horizon report from the closed. How does that work?
None.
No, that goes forward now to the board.
Correct.
Okay. Now, the consent agenda. Is there anything in the consent agenda that needs to be removed?
I'll move it as it is.
Okay, seconded by Sal. Call the question. All in favor, opposed, motion carried. Business arising from the minutes. I don't believe there is any.
I do have a question. Well,
Oh,
I do have. Hold on. From the business arising from the minutes, I was just really curious, Director Tony, if the toilets that you were asking to put through under gas tax funding, if that was acceptable under gas tax funding?
I haven't had that discussion yet with Melanie and Suzanne, but that's
okay.
something I want to address. I want to try and catch you at the end of this meeting, Melanie, if we could set something up to talk about funding of various kinds. But I'll let you know, Vivian, as soon as I have an answer.
Thank you.
Well, I think it affects all of us.
I'm very interested in that. Okay, I'll be quiet. I'm going back on mute now.
okay, 8.1 CAO verbal update.
Thank you, Chair. Nothing this morning.
Okay, thank you. 8.2 direction request, electoral area priorities and aspirational strategic plans. You want to start with Area A? Sal.
Yes, yeah. I'd like to remove the September 20 Area A aspirational plan. Totally remove it. And I'd like to farther down there's a draft April 20th for Area A. I would like that to be implemented with a couple of changes. Is everybody on that page? It's page.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Item number 4. I would like that changed to research, search and rescue, first responder program. And item number 12, where it talks about the Braylorn Community Hall, I would like it to read, support efforts to create a phased approach feasibility study.
Where's that?
It's item number 12 on the draft, April 20th draft.
Oh, right, sorry.
Support efforts to create a phased approach feasibility study to have the Braylorn Community Hall reopened to the public. And that's it.
Okay, area B, Vivian?
Thank you. I would like to add underneath First Nations relations is not, which is item number 1, to remain the same. But I'd like to make item number 2 outdoor recreation, research and advocacy at this point. And then the others just shuffle down in their numerical order. But I do have under number 3, we're doing a little bit of work on the historic railway park at Seaton. So maybe it says Anderson Lake Park, Together Park, Seaton. Could there be another bullet there? The historic railway park at Seaton. That one has a chance of moving along a little more quickly. Recreation site falls under outdoor management. Under concerns with the current logging practice, which is number 4, now number 5, I would just like to align with the BC government strategy around reduced old growth logging. And Kristen, are you ready for the next one? Yeah. Number 6, which is now number 7, if we could make it fire and emergency services. And then emergency planning could fall underneath that as a bullet. So we're still staying at 7 items. Does that all make sense? That would be just great. And obviously the years are all outdated. The sort of future thinking start, the years should probably be switched over to 2021 on all of them. And there's a few more little tweaks, but that would be great if we could make those changes. Oh, sorry. I had one other, no, it's okay. It fits.
Okay, you're okay then, Vivian?
Thanks very much, Russell.
Okay, and then for area C, I just want to complete and carry on with what we're doing or what, we've got planned. I think we've got enough to do. The biggest challenge I think we've got in area C right now is back to roads again. And this is just something that's just keeps going on. And it's okay, I've said since this new contractor's taken over now 3 years, and with the new government, well, not new anymore, but they're just not doing any maintenance whatsoever. It's just the roads are deteriorating dramatically. And I've talked to MLA Sturdy about it. And he just feels the same way. He's frustrated that there doesn't seem to be a plan, and there's no money available. That's the biggest problem. So I don't know, I'm sure it's the same in everybody's areas, but the other thing that's quite interesting to note, if you drive south now from Whistler down through Squamish and whatnot, you'll notice that the main highway itself is really starting to deteriorate there too. And I couldn't figure out why, but what the problem is, the 10-year warranty on that highway is over. So Kiewit is not forced to do their yearly maintenance. So now it's on the government's, dime or whatever, and they're just not doing it. So that's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out, and if there's any priority there to actually maintaining that thing the way it had been maintained when it was under warranty. So anyways, that's enough for me. Yeah, Sal?
Russell, I'm just wondering if you couldn't use what we're doing up in the northern region is have Jordan Sturdy set up a meeting with Mahdi and then local government officials. So you could have somebody from Whistler, Pemberton, Squamish on that meet once a quarter. But it's the MLA meeting. It's not Mahdi meeting, and have Mahdi attend.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea, Sal. I'll talk to him about that. We do have spring and fall meetings now with the contractor and with MOTI, and everybody's involved. But yeah, maybe there's a better way of doing it because right now it's just it's sort of like a get together, and we talk about stuff, but nothing ever really happens. It's just a feel good situation, and there's got to be a better way. So
yeah,
thanks for that. I'll talk to Jordan about it.
Yeah, I've learned over time that it's better not to have the contractor there, and you have the regional Mahdi manager there, and that should be that's the only person that should be from Mahdi on there. It's a regional manager. And
we have a real challenge getting those people involved in anything down here now, because the manager we did have who was really engaged has moved on, and now we've got somebody that's not engaged, and very, very challenging to get them to participate. But yeah, I'll leave that up to Jordan. I will talk to him. Thank you.
Yeah, you could have Jordan talk to me also if you want.
Okay.
Yep.
Area D, Tony.
Thank you. Am I mute? No, I'm not. Okay. Just a comment about that tunnel station. We have actually, apparently we have purchased the bridge, and they're getting quite excited about that. It's supposed to go in later this year. Just as an aside, I'm not quite sure whether this is going to spill over to us and involve us at all, but Jordan Sturdy was asking questions in the House the other day about the lease payments in Tunnel Station. And I've got Tunnel Station, Cheekamus Valley, Paradise Valley, because different people call it different things. It's the same place. Oh, right, sorry. But their leases, one of them went up. The annual lease was 4,500, something like that, last year. This year, it's $20,000 because of the way the assessments were handled. But anyway, I don't know if that's going to sort of involve us at all in any way. It may at some point. Britannia Beach. I don't know if we're still working on whether that illegal short-term rentals should be there. It was a major problem a couple of years ago, and I think I don't hear anything about it anymore. So I think we've basically got that under control. That could probably come off there. Black Tusk and Pinecrest. I don't know if I should, I'm not quite sure what should be listed here or not. I know staff are quite involved with both Black Tusk and Pinecrest in terms of sewer system and water issues and things. So I don't know if there should be a bullet in there to indicate that. They're definitely, it's an ongoing issue for them. Furry Creek. See, I have fire awareness and preparedness in Furry Creek. I'm not doing anything at all. That would be Sarah. So we've got a staff thing in there, but not in other places. So maybe what I should do is, well, I'm not sure what I should do. Melanie, would you like me to go through that and sort of identify all the things staff are doing in Area D? Because they're not all listed.
Through the chair, no, thank you. I don't think we need to do that. If you're satisfied with what the actions currently are that are occurring, we're fine. This was to capture what were really your aspirational plans and priorities for moving things forward that you felt needed to be added.
Okay, that fire awareness and preparedness of Furry Creek can come off then. And I think the wildlife human interaction issues can come off as well. We've got somebody involved in that now. It's not taking any of my time. For Ring Creek, if we could add children's playground as a bullet, that's already I've already had Kim give me some mapping information about that, and it may develop into something which will involve staff in the same way that the Britannia Beach playground did. I think it'll likely be, we don't appear to have any land up there, so it would likely be getting tenure on some Crown land. So that would involve staff and the Squamish Library. What? Mine ends at that. It seems to be chopped short. What's happened there? Let me go back up here, see if I can find it. Oh yeah, yeah. That number 6 can stay on there because I think when I finally get together with the mayor, we can we'll get something organised in there, so I can stay on there as an aspiration. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Everybody's satisfied and happy with their plans?
Yes. Move to adopt. Or do you need a motion to accept the changes?
How do you want to do this? Kristen, do you want a motion to receive or a motion to receive with the changes?
Thanks, Chair. A motion to receive with the changes discussed, please.
So
Okay,
moved.
moved by Vivian, seconded by Sal. Call the question, all in favor, opposed, motion carried. Thank you. Eight point three is information report, first quarter planning report. Do we have staff on that?
We do. Look at that. We have the
Kim
director.
is back. Hello, Kim.
Hello. Did anyone have a question on this one?
Me.
Yeah, go ahead, Tony. Go ahead.
The first one for Area D, the Whistler Olympic Park. It says referrals have been sent out. Can you give us an update on? No, it's first reading it. No, wait a minute. What does that say? Where that should be further along than that, shouldn't it? Or has that? Oh,
I'm not sure what you're looking at.
I'm looking at the Whistler Olympic Park rezoning. I thought we were further along than just sending out the referrals. I thought that was done.
Yes. Actually, yes, my apologies. That one has been done there on DP stage. They've applied for DP. That should have been updated.
Okay, so what the rezoning is all complete and everything. So what
Yes.
happens with this DP then? Does that come to the board or do you have?
That's an interesting one because I have authority for a comprehensive DP when it's over 5,000 square feet. But because these are mobile homes, it doesn't, by the rules of my delegation of authority, I don't think it needs to come to the board.
Oh, good. I just like to see that moving along. I'm hoping.
Yeah, sorry about that.
This summer. No, that's fine.
That's an oversight.
Yeah, thank you.
Sal, go ahead.
I've got two things. One is the third from the bottom. 218 Marmot Crescent. It should be area A.
Oh yeah, great.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Okay. The other question I got is, when do we get a report on all the building permits that are out right now? Or do
That are like have been applied for?
Yeah, that have been approved.
That should be on our website.
On the website?
Yeah. But normally we don't bring a report on that. We
Okay.
bring a report quarterly on building in general. So that will be coming next month. We normally would have brought it this month, but because of the way the days of the month fell and the deadlines for this meeting, we delayed it for a month.
I tried looking on the website and I couldn't find it. Do you share a link with the 4 directors, please?
Uh-huh. Yeah, but there will be the quarterly report next month.
Okay, but I'd still like to see it on the website.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's all.
Okay, Vivian?
I was pretty excited to see a second application in B, and then I realized it was actually in A. Sal's already corrected that. But I did have a question on my lonely application from Area B, which is just the abbreviation, Cam Needham, about SFD. I don't know what that stands for. It's on page 42.
A single family dwelling.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. We use lots of acronyms.
Tony, go ahead.
Yeah, Kim, I don't know if you can give me an answer to this, but anytime I'm in Britannia, I get the question, when are we going to see something happening at, down at the commercial area and so on? And I see something else is being brought to the board for approval. Can you give me a ballpark figure of, like, where are we at with that? Is it close yet?
Yeah, so if you're referring to the Britannia Oceanfront Development Corporation development, that has been, there are some issues that the applicant is dealing with the Crown. So they're getting some final environmental reviews and approvals with respect to the site remediation works down there. As far as the work that we've, that has to come through our approvals, They have been issued a DP for the residential and for the commercial. However, I've been told by the developer that they are going to be submitting some revised plans. So we will need to be coming back to the board once we get those plans to make those revisions to their development permits. So right now you'll see that some of the buildings on the commercial site are raised in the air.
Right.
They're on footings.
Yep.
We do have approvals to issue foundation permits for those, and foundation permits only. So what will be happening is fill will be brought in. And once the fill is raised to the required flood protection level, footings can be poured and the buildings will be laid sort of in their final place in order to just get them off the footings and have them in the spots that they were approved for. The revised development permit drawings will have those buildings in the same location, so it won't make a difference.
So that work is proceeding right now, is it? Or?
It's actually just starting to happen. So we've just heard word from the developer that they want to proceed with the foundations for those historic buildings.
Oh, that's great. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, is there anything else from anybody? Tony?
I'd just like to comment that I see that this report was prepared by or submitted by L. Plotnikoff, Planning and Building Assistant. And last time I was talking to Lara, she was the receptionist or something like that, just answering the phones. So I'm assuming that that's a promotion. Did I miss an email or did I?
So Trish, who used to be our assistant, has retired. Lucky that. Trish.
Yeah.
And we promoted Lara to Trish's position. So this was her first report.
That's great.
And so, she had some help from Trish,
good.
which was excellent.
Yeah. So if I could,
Thank you.
Maybe a little motion that we as a group congratulate her or something like that. Can I move that? Is that appropriate?
Well,
I think that's a very good idea.
And I really appreciate that she's trying to get more development permits into Area B. And I said that.
No, it's nice. I like to see people promoted within our organization. I think that's great.
Yeah, I agree. That's very good. So everybody's okay then with the report. So we'll move it. Vivian will move by Vivian, seconded by Tony. I'll call the question. All in favor, opposed, motion carried. Thanks, Kim.
And maybe we could ask Kim to just pass on our congratulations to Lara, would you?
I will.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, 8.4, request for decision, Britannia Beach Electoral Area D, DVP application. Do you want to speak to this, Kim?
Yeah, sure. DVP 159 is just a basic rear parcel line setback variance. So it's a very small variance from 5.6 to 5 meters. So it's a 0.6 meter variance. It's an unusual shaped lot. They're hoping to construct a single family dwelling, which would encroach into that setback. So we are in support of that variance.
Okay, very good. Would you like to move that, Tony?
Yes, I will. Thank you.
Okay, I'll second it. Call the question. All in favor, opposed, motion carried. Thank you. So 8.5 is request for decision, Pemberton Meadows Electoral Area C, DVP number 162. Would you like to talk to that one, Kim?
Yeah, and this one's going to require a little bit more discussion. So we received an email last night at 10 p.m. from the applicant's architect. And in that email, they raised a number of points that I should raise with the EAD. Some of these things came in, of course, too late to include in the report. So we received late correspondence. We received one letter of opposition, which is in your report. So that letter of opposition was from the near neighbor who would be immediately adjacent to the side of the house where the setback is being proposed. So just walking you through this is an existing house. It's in the Pemberton Meadows. The house was constructed in 1977, and it had a garage, which is within the 7.5 meter setback area. So the garage did not have, it was non-conforming, and is non-conforming now to our bylaw. So the applicants have been requesting a relaxation to our setback in order to make that existing garage conform. And they want, with the legitimate, by making that legitimate and making it conform to our zoning bylaw, they want to add a secondary suite above the garage. The next door neighbor has complained because they don't want a bunch of living space immediately adjacent to their property. And so for that reason, we recommended rejecting the application. Usually if we have complaints from a near neighbor, especially a neighbor who's directly affected or impacted by an application, we will recommend rejection. Right around the time this report was going to get PDF'd, we received a letter that was not communicated to me that was from a neighbor across the street who said that they were in support of the application. And then once this report had gone out to yourselves, we received late correspondence from another neighbor across the street who said that they supported the application. So there's one letter of opposition and two letters of support. Mr. Dowick, the architect for the applicants, has expressed concern with our recommendation to reject this. He has stated that the applicants themselves did not build the garage into the encroachment. They bought the house with that encroachment there, and they just want to make it comply and add a suite in order to provide for some affordable housing. He's not stated how that property would be made affordable. There's no suggestion that there be covenants or anything like that to ensure affordability. He has requested to speak, but he was given information by our staff to a couple of days ago as to how he could speak at this meeting, but I'm not sure where that landed. And so he's been given the opportunity that he can speak at the board meeting if he wishes. He's also stated that he was unaware of instructions about submissions and attendance at the meeting. I'm told by my staff that there were emails forwarded to him advising him how he could participate, etc. Let's see here. So that's sort of the full picture of this application. I think it's really something that's up to the EAD and the board to decide as to how they want to weigh the input from the neighbors. Generally speaking, we do tend to support near neighbors who are most impacted. The letters of support, as I said, were from neighbors who were our neighbors, but farther away and not really impacted by this change. So that's sort of the summary of that application, if anybody has any questions.
Yeah, so just just hang on a sec. I'd just like to ask, so the architect would like to have the opportunity to speak to, it would be at the board meeting now. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Should we then be looking at deferring this decision and letting him speak at the board meeting and then make our decision then?
Yeah, the EAD could choose to do that.
Because I think it's, you know, it's only right that we do give him the opportunity to make his, you know, case for this. And then maybe we'll get a clearer picture of exactly what's going on. Anyways, Sal, you had a question?
Yeah, I'm looking at the schematic A0-2 farther down. And it looks like they've got a pool or something on the looks like the south side of the property. Looks like two structures that are also in the, that are not legal. They're not in the that 7.5 meter. And it's got the pool deck, pool house, so on and so forth. So, am I correct?
Yes, it looks like there's an encroachment in the back, but we typically don't base our decisions on other infractions. So each variance is sort of considered on its own merits. So at this point, the only variance being requested is the garage, and that would essentially legitimize that garage so that an addition could be put on top of it, which is really, I think, the ultimate goal of the applicant.
Okay, thank you.
Tony, did you have a question?
Well, yeah, sort of. Just a comment first about Britannia Beach and why I didn't, why there were no questions about that. I don't know if you ever look at a map of Britannia, the upper part of Britannia, the lots there are crazy. When they drew the lines, they basically, it was just one existing lot when it was owned by the mining company. And when they drew the lines, they basically worked around structures that were already there. And as those structures have been pulled down and new ones built, it's difficult, really tough to sort of follow the setbacks and so on. But when I look at this one, it was built some time ago. We had no control over that. The garage exists. It encroaches on on that setback. But it seems to me there's quite a difference between a one-story garage and then this proposed A3-1, this conceptual model of a two-story building. So my question would be, why would we can't do anything about the existing single-story garage, but I'm not sure why we would approve adding that to it, especially if there are neighbors there that say they're not very fond of the idea of a two-story building there. So I think it's, you know, in one set of circumstances, one part of the area, the region, we're faced with things that we really can't change. This one, I think we have some say over it, and I don't see. I mean, why do they want it? Is it for family? Is it for revenue? Is it for short-term rentals? Is it really affordable housing?
What the applicant has advised us this morning is that they would be willing to revise the plans to remove windows facing on to the neighbor's side. But they have said it with respect to your question, that they see a need for, affordable housing in the region. But we don't have, that I'm aware of, any information about how they intend to actually rent that and whether it actually would be affordable.
They're going to want their money back out of that. They're going to build that structure. That's going to cost them a fair bit of money. They're not social workers. They're going to be wanting to charge a rent that is going to enable them to recoup their capital. So I don't see how that being affordable. Anyway, maybe we should, as Russell said, maybe we should listen to what the guy has to say at the board meeting. Defer it until then.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to do it. Listen to what the architect has to say and then base our decision on that. The only problem, I guess, if we legitimize the garage that's already there, then do we have any control over them adding this addition on? If the garage is legitimate, can they do that?
Yes.
That's a question to Kim.
Yeah, because they would, with the addition of the suite above, they would still meet the height requirement in the area. So legitimizing
right
this
now,
garage would,
because the garage,
sorry.
yeah, sorry. So right now, because the garage is not legitimate, they can't put the addition on. But once we legitimize it, then they can. Now,
Yes.
does the garage meet code now, like to put a second floor on?
It will need to meet code in order to do so.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
right. So I'm going to make the motion that we defer this to the board meeting and allow the architect to come forward and answer some questions. Got to get somebody to second that. Okay, Vivian seconds it. So moved and seconded. I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Welcome.
Tony?
Just one further thing. When this comes to the board, I looking at the, I guess that's a Google Earth image, and then the diagrams below. I can't see how close the neighboring buildings are, and it would be useful to know that. You've got this neighbor complaining she doesn't want a two-story building overlooking her property, but I can't really see how close they are.
Yeah, we can bring some
Yeah,
more
that's a good
detail on that, and we will also include the letters of support from the other neighbors and any other pertinent information in order to update this report when it comes to the board.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, very good. Thanks. Okay, 8.6 information report. Gas tax community works funds, BC Hydro built increased reserves and amenities reserve balances. Are we going to get staff? Suzanne going to talk to us on this, or somebody?
Chair Mac, did we finish
Yeah,
with?
go ahead.
Did we finish with that last item? Did you call the question and so forth? I kind of missed that. I just wondered if
I did.
Okay.
Yep. No,
Thanks.
I did.
And do I understand that? So is more input going to be allowed to come in on this? It's obviously controversial, or has there been a deadline for input that's already been passed? It's just that these came in and these other submissions came in at the last minute.
Yeah, I believe Kim said that they were going to put a report together with that information in it. And the information that Tony added about where the where the building is that I guess is going to be impacted by this on the adjacent lot. Is that correct, Kristen?
Thanks, Chair. I was going to say I could let Kim back into the meeting, but I see she's left the waiting room now. But I believe that she was going to update the report to provide that information that was provided up to today's date.
Yeah, that's what I understood too, so. Okay, you okay with that, Vivian? Okay. Okay, so 8.6, is somebody going to speak to this?
I just
Chair, I was expecting that Ms. LaFrance would be available, and I did send her a quick email. Her plans were that she was going to be available to speak to this report. But I don't see her here to speak to it at this time.
I've just texted her too, and I believe she'll be coming in momentarily.
Thank you.
There she is.
Hello, sorry, I thought I
Hello,
was,
Suzanne.
hi. I thought I was at the end of the meeting, sorry about that. So I had another meeting I just got out of. So yeah, I'm Suzanne LaFrance, Director of Finance, and here to answer any questions about the EAD Reserve Fund balances.
Does anybody have any questions? Vivian?
Suzanne already answered my immediate questions on email, just when I to make sure that I understood what the balance is. But when I'm looking, first of all, thank you. This is helpful, and it's sort of more information than I had on my little cheat sheet that I've been carrying around, trying to figure out how to use the more gas tax community works fund. Beside integrated community sustainability plans, it says community development plans. Do you think, or do you have any experience, or are there more guidelines for say an outdoor recreation scan, user survey, that kind of planning? Do you think that would fit?
I think these are more like planning, like land planning and zoning type of things. Community development plans, I don't think that's recreation based, but I can probe UBCM and get their feedback. It's
Thank you.
kind of broad, and I'm not sure if it's meant to be more like a community planning, you know, like that, you know, the development, like the land planning and zoning does.
maybe with the line above where it says integrated community sustainability plans, if there was a bit more of an explanation, we're talking about different user groups in different places, reducing conflict. That's sort of where I'm thinking. So that might sway them one way or the other. I think it's a bit of a long shot, but it would be great if it was a yes. So thank you very much.
Tony, go ahead.
Yeah, just a comment about the Gas Tax Community Works Fund, which I understand is being renamed. I think the federal government is going to rename it to better reflect what the money's for. I found it, as Suzanne knows, quite frustrating to deal with. And one of the reasons I think is, and if you look through it and the beginning of this report, and look through the way it's summarized, especially look on the example side, the right-hand column, it really is biased towards municipalities and larger municipalities. When it's talking about large facilities or complexes which support physical activity such as arenas, gymnasiums, etc. Those the kinds of examples it gives. If you're in a municipality, there's no problem. They own the land, they have facilities there. For example, in Squamish, they're upgrading their library, and we were able to we put some money from Area D Community Works into that library. You can do things like that, but within the electoral areas, we just don't have the land, we don't have the complexes, we don't have the ability to build big complexes. So our projects are much smaller in nature. There may be only, a couple I've applied for $30,000-$40,000, but they could still be viewed as infrastructure. They could still be viewed as recreation facilities. They're just not on the scale of recreation facilities in municipalities. And my argument would be that we should accept that in the electoral areas, the population is much sparser, it's fewer people, but they deserve support just as much as people living in municipalities. And it wouldn't be feasible for me to say that let's build a swimming pool in Area D. It doesn't make any sense. There's a pool at Squamish, and so we can contribute, and we do contribute to that. But it does make sense to spend a little bit of money to improve a trail or to build a deck or something like that, which is for recreational purposes. So I just have that problem of how UBCM characterizes applications for using these funds. So I just wanted to make that comment about this. There's no real answer to it. I just wanted to sort of put that out there. But further down, there is a question I have further down in the report, and I'm scanning down to get the page. Where's the page? It's underneath all the budget detail. It doesn't have a page number, and I'm looking at what it is Policies and Procedures Manual, policy number 2.2, BC Hydro payments in lieu of taxes. And that policy was developed in 2013, which is quite a long time ago now. And I know it was on the list of work we talked about a couple of years ago, that it needs to be reviewed. I think I was looking in here. There's some amounts that it says they're based on 2016 amounts. 5% allocated to the Recreation Centre in Lillooet, the Seton Portage Fire Service, etc., Squamish Public Library. But those amounts were actually set back in 2013, and I'm pretty sure there was a date when this was supposed to be reviewed. And I think we're past that date. So I'm just wondering what we want to do about it. Do we just want to leave PILT exactly the way it is? In which case we should probably have some kind of a resolution through the board stating that. Or do we want to review it and tinker with it and make some changes?
Yeah, Sal, go ahead.
I would like a review of it because in that documentation, it talks about what it can be used for, such as it has to have a tax service to be used for, but it also says special projects. And we need to identify what special projects are, because there's no identification of what special projects are. So I look at, it may be a special project that doesn't have a tax service. Is that okay to be used for that? So we do need a review.
I think our practice has been, we haven't been following that it has to have a tax service. I think we've put a lot of money into things.
So there's two different things here. The area A and B, the northern Pilt, they have to have a service established for it, and it's not supposed to be for regular operations. That's what special projects insinuates. Then the area, the southern Pilt, is not the same requirements. So the southern Pilt doesn't have to be attached to a service.
Oh, okay.
Currently, that's what the BC Hydro Pilt policy states. But yes, it is due for a review, and that'll be at the board level. But yes, it's good to have this conversation, and I'm anticipating this coming up soon at the board table. I believe it has to be a board.
Vivian, did you have your hand?
I'm still waiting around in the gas tax section. And I wondered underneath recreational planning, just to see what you think, Suzanne, Ms. LaFrance, if perhaps my idea for some surveying study, kind of landscape level analysis, if maybe that might fall better under that category. I know I was astonished with the solar panels at the rec center that I thought that would fall under energy efficiency, but I think you told me, nope, that fell underneath recreation infrastructure, right? So they definitely have their own way of viewing these categories, and it's not all really super clear to me, but maybe if it doesn't fall under planning, it might fall under recreation infrastructure, because it's the beginning of some planning for infrastructure, maybe. And pool, we have actually, amazingly, our volunteer group has raised $100,000 towards keeping our pool open longer this year. And so now they need a second $100,000, and they're working on that. You know, I contributed some through PILT because the recreation center is an established service, and in area B, I could do that. I might want to contribute some more. Do you think to use community works funds, gas tax? Does that money for the pool need to be attached to a specific structure, as in infrastructure? Okay, so it can't be programming, for example.
No, gas tax funds are specific for recreation to infrastructure.
Okay, so that helps. And then one more question. When you're asking them questions, would some infrastructure for our golf course be appropriate for that fund? I think it might be.
I'd have to look into the golf course. I'm not familiar with how, if it's a for-profit adventure or not, or if it's run by the district.
It's a volunteer-run service, and it's pretty good. It's a hokey little sheep's pasture golf course, but it's an important enterprise and healthy activity in the area. So I do support it. And maybe
It's possible. I'd have to get all the details and look at the company and that owns
Okay.
it.
Thank you.
Tony, you have a question?
No, I have a comment. I support what Vivian's trying to do there with the golf course. And I look under sport infrastructure, and it says sport infrastructure for community public use. And it would seem to me that if you've got a volunteer-run community golf course, that fits perfectly. And I would be really upset if UBCM came back and said, oh, no, this doesn't, whatever reason they come up with. And they do things like that. Underneath there, it says sport infrastructure in support of major amateur athletic events. And when we wanted to do something at Whistler Olympic Park involving a major amateur international athletic event, they said, oh, no, you can't do that. So we had to basically, well, we got approval in the end, let's put it that way. But why was it refused? They're capricious. I don't like their reasoning. Doesn't follow what they've actually said here.
So, Suzanne, with UBCM, like who decides on the criteria? Do they have a board or group of people that actually, do they make up the criteria, or is that made at the federal level and passed down?
I believe it's made at the federal level, and then the UBCM group that deals with trying to get these projects either approved or disapproved, they do have the federal government discussing these with them. And so they've received pushback. What I understand is they received pushback from the federal government on certain projects. So they're kind of hesitant to give full approvals when they know that there has been pushback in the past with certain similar projects.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Well, I have another comment, and it's about UBCM and the way they do this. It's secret. They won't speak to politicians. They'll only speak to staff, and they don't really disclose how they arrive at decisions. And I think that's wrong. Is with that that amount of public money, and we've had money sitting around that hasn't been spent for years, and I think it's immoral to have that tax money just sitting there not being used. So if it continues, if we keep hitting these roadblocks with UBCM, then I've already spoken to our MP about it, and his attitude is he doesn't understand why they're being difficult. So he hasn't done anything yet, but if I ask him to go to Ottawa and talk to people there, he will. I don't want to do that, but I'm getting frustrated.
So can we, this is a question I see you, Vivian. Is a question for Melanie or Kristen. So can we at the board level, can we affect any change or put any suggestions forward for change to how they make
Thank
these
you,
decisions?
Chair. Oh, sorry, I didn't realize you weren't done. Sorry.
Go ahead, Melanie.
So as Ms. LaFrance has indicated, there is a head agreement between the feds and the province, and that governs the whole country. And then there's one between the provinces and the local governments in BC based on our legislation. And so having an ability to affect change to the gas tax is, it's not that it can't be done, but it's a big project that would involve taking it both to the provincial level as well as to the federal level. There were changes made a number of years ago that actually did help regional districts as well as municipalities, where we had the ability to put more money towards infrastructure and such like. So it's not to say that changes won't happen, but they have a fairly rigid structure in place. And at this time, it would definitely be advisable for the SLRD to ensure that any money we put, we know it's eligible, and that we go through the process that our director of finance is using to validate that. Because otherwise what can happen is they'll come back, they'll audit, they'll say it's ineligible, and they will defund that item. So it may be awkward, and it may be something that's politically not popular, but until such time as it changes, I think that the recommendations that Ms. LaFrance has made should be followed. If you're looking from an advocacy perspective, that would be something that would be need to be carried on at the political level through both of those organizations, the UBCM and the FCM. And it'll take some time.
Okay, thank you. Vivian had a question or a comment?
Just that I'm pretty happy with what I've been able to do in Area B with this fund. Once I figured out with Ms. LaFrance's help what sort of I am so used to being turned down with grant applications that it's not a surprise to me when it's not a go. I really appreciate Suzanne doing the footwork for us as we figure it out. But the solar panels and some of the other energy efficiency projects that we've been able to do worked and were funded 100% through this. So yes, I'm willing to continue to try and figure out what is acceptable, because I'll find a way to, there's so much that needs to be done in Area B. I'll figure out a way to use the gas tax money.
Tony?
I just want to make it clear that my frustrations and discontent lie with UBCM and not at all with Suzanne. I know I appreciate the work that she does on our behalf. Suzanne, I hope you haven't taken the things that I was saying as being criticisms of you, because they're certainly not. It's the UBCM level and beyond that disappoints me. And I don't like being in that situation where I have got to push back to Suzanne, because I know that she's just getting stuck. She's getting pushed by UBCM, and it's not an easy situation to be in. So anyway.
Okay, any more questions or comments for Suzanne on this subject? Yeah, Sal, go ahead.
I've just got one comment. I'm just wondering, the UBCM has got all kinds of resolutions on file, and I'm just wondering if this gas tax funding is one of the resolutions that's out there right now. How can we find out?
Yeah.
And then we could tag along with it, or something like that, you know. Because I look at some of the SILGA resolutions that are out there, and some are okay to move forward, others aren't, or recommended that they're not. So I'm just curious if at the UBCM there's an outstanding resolution right now that's out there, but put up by somebody, another local government.
Could you answer that question, Melanie?
Thank you, Chair. We can certainly put that question to UBCM and ask them if there are currently any resolutions of that nature listed on their books.
Okay, I'll make a motion to that staff look into what UBCM motions are out there regarding gas tax funding.
Okay, and I'll second that.
Yeah.
I'll call the question. All in favor, opposed, motion carried. And Tony, do you have another comment?
Well, I think all of the UBCM motions are listed on their website by year. I think they certainly were available the last convention, which was an online convention. You could research back and look at different years and what was there, what was passed, what's still pending, and so on. I don't know if that's available right now, but it might be a place to look.
Okay, very good. We'll do that. Okay, is everybody satisfied with this then?
Motion to receive these reports with deep appreciation.
Okay, seconded by Sal. Call a question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Thanks, Suzanne,
Thank you.
once again. Okay, number 9 is a decision on late business. I don't believe there is any late business. And late business, none. Director's notice of motion? None. Tony, this is yours.
I've got my hand up. I want to move adjournment.
Very good. Okay, well, thank you very much, everybody. Have a great day. Enjoy the weather.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks all.
Okay,
Bye, everyone.
thank you.
Bye-bye.
Talk to you later.